Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and welcome to day 33 of our 100-day countdown to the best version of ourselves in the new year. I'm so glad you're here. Wow. I was just like, okay, was there like disturbance in the forest? How, pray tell, do I have all these new people popping up? Which, of course, is an answer to prayer. But like with any prayer, you need footwork. And it turns out that my unofficial mentor encouraged people to join. Oh my goodness. You guys don't have to stay if you don't want to, but, listen to a video or two and see if you're on board. I am thrilled to no end. So thank you, Fairy Godmother, for encouraging people to come to Jules Blessed Vegan. I'm glad you're here. And for those who have been here the entire time, rock and roll, peeps. You are doing great. Again, it doesn't matter if we slip. We just continue to move forward because all of life is momentum in a forward direction. You might as well get on board. So I wanted to talk about your why. What is your why for even wanting to get well? And that's not a new topic. And Tanny Raw always says you have to know your why. But what I was realizing is she also says why people, a different why. Like as a teacher, my kids would say, you just said why. Yeah. Okay. It's multiple meanings. Okay. So she would say, if your why isn't continuing to serve you, it might need to be reevaluated, or you may need a stronger why. And the other thing is, she was recognizing like the reasons people fall off their eating program. The number one reason, especially for raw vegan, is because you may not be getting enough calories. And of course, in particular, your calories may not even be nutrient dense. So your body's like begging for more. And that doesn't serve anyone. But mostly if people aren't getting enough calories, that's one. And then the other reason is that their why just isn't strong enough to carry them. And I found that really interesting. So it made me reflect. And a couple of years ago, I found out that both of my kidneys were totally shot. And I actually have a video on that, and praise God, they are healing. And we are very much in a different direction today. But when I first found out, of course, I panicked. I mean, the doctors were all too willing, cha-ching, to make me a lifelong client, or let's just say long enough until I died, right, from dialysis. And again, God bless anyone in that process. It's no offense at all. It's just my experience. And so they immediately offered me a stent. Do you want it in your chest? Do you want it in your forearm? What color do you want your dialysis machine? We have all different I was like, so no. So no, you have the wrong girl. So I went in a different direction. But for the first year after I got that diagnosis, I just got off of all sugar, which I consider myself a recovering sugar addict. So I got off of all sugar. I, started to eat right. I lost essentially 100 pounds, and I'm a heavyweight champ. I look pretty good up front, but I'm sporting the body. I still weigh like 200 and something pounds, but I weighed 300 and something pounds. So anyway, lost 100 pounds. Everyone was praising me. Well, the further I got away from the fear, and my why was really fear, right? Fear of dying, fear of being in dialysis. The further I got away from the fear, because I started getting well, the more all my old haunts and terrible behaviors came right back. Because none of them were resolved. And fear cannot carry you. It certainly couldn't carry me long enough. So I needed a stronger why. So my next why was that I wanted to be on the planet. I mean, certainly for family, grandchildren, people I love, but for service, because I am, a Christian. I'm actually a Jewish Christian because my heritage is all Jewish lineage, and then I was raised Christian. So I have the beauty of both. But I just felt like I want to be healthy, I want to be well, and I want to be able to serve others. I had the grace to see my father to his last breath, my brother Patrick, who died of cancer to his last breath, different people, and sadly, as Tanny had referenced, my horse to her last breath, and many little four-legged people. But whatever the case is, sometimes God has me right there, which I readily say yes to. But you know what? Even like fear, serving others isn't going to be my why. It's not enough why. I need a lot of creativity in my life. Creativity certainly being able to communicate with people. I love communicating, inspiring other people. I may or may not inspire you, and I don't necessarily mean in that way, but inspiring people to be the best versions of themselves. Hence the reason I say that at the beginning of all my videos. I want people to be all that they can, to shine as bright as they can, to know that they are unique, one of a kind for all of time, and that they do have some gift to give. But man, when you get people talking about their passion, do they glow? I mean, they literally glow, right? I see it every day, even with my little kids. I teach little 8-year-olds. And when they get excited about a topic, you cannot shut them up. They will go for days, right? Oh my gosh, it's like, did you take a breath? One might ask me that as well, I know. Okay, so anyway, this was really interesting. I asked my mother. My mom is 86, and I'm going to show you a picture. I just pulled it up on Facebook, so check it. Here's my mother on her 86th birthday. Okay, is she awesome? She's not just cute, though. This is not a cute, frail old woman. This is a super powerful, strong woman who you can tell has it going on. So, in looking at my mother, we all expect her to be amazing. And I'm the 11th child. Okay, so she had 11 kids in 11 years and 10 months. And all of us are just expecting her, of course, to be on the planet forever, which sadly will not happen. But certainly for a long time, and to die with her boots on. So anyway, a couple years ago, a couple things happened. She was a professor, still, 84 years old, a professor in Los Angeles, driving to work. But her night vision started to fail her. So she started to panic a little bit and not feel safe at night. So she dropped the course that she was teaching. And my mother always needs to be teaching. She continued to teach like smaller classes, art and different things on the weekend. But she needs an audience, man. She is so intelligent and phenomenal. She has, a double master's, let alone a lifetime degree, and all of her children and 44 grandkids and everything else. So we kind of noticed a change right there where she stopped driving to work. And then she had this fantastic dog that was such a kick, and she walked the dog all the time. They'd walk a mile and a half or whatever, and the dog ended up dying. And she got a cat, and cats don't necessarily need to be walked, right? So all of a sudden her walking decreased too. And we started noticing that she was just acting very kind of frail and hesitant. She said she wasn't as comfortable walking. She felt like her peripheral vision was off. She got like weird. And I'd say it to her face because we're like, really, Mom? Like, we just won't let her be like that. So anyway, what she just told me recently is that she went ahead and walked around the block. She felt like a drunken sailor. She was kind of wobbly and uncomfortable. And she started questioning herself again and saying, do I need a cane? Do I need a walker? Whatever. By God's grace, she walked again the following night. And of course, it was a little easier. And by the third night, she was like kicking it. And now she's walking as much as she ever did in a very short period of time. And I always say muscles remember, and they do. So I said, Mom, what was your why? Why in the world did you have the courage to go past that first day of frail and the second day of wobbling and the third day of, oh my gosh, should I get a cane? How did you push through that? What was your why? And there were two things. One, she said that she was watching a documentary where, sadly, of course, they had tested on mice or something. They'd done an experiment. But that said, in injecting cancer in the mice insisted on using their wheel to run and essentially ran their cancer right off. And my mom was like, oh my gosh, all they have to do is get back out there and start walking and I can avoid, some ugly life. She's always been a total health nut freak. I mean, literally eating nuts and raisins and peanut butter and Ezekiel bread and all this stuff. Like, she just has this natural desire. She almost never drinks. She barely does snacks. She'll have a cookie every 4 months. She's a total, natural, naturalist, let's just say. So anyway, that hasn't ever really been a problem for her. But exercise is so important. And, she used to ride horses. She'd swim laps. She was in a darn, race in the ocean that we had locally. She ran it like one in her division in her 60s. I mean, she's amazing. So anyway, she said that her why was, first of all, understanding that exercise healed them from cancer, and she would love to prevent getting cancer. And then the second thing was there was this guy that we used to see walk around town. And I don't know his story. I'll never know his story. He didn't even speak English. He was like a Pacific Islander, maybe Korean, I'm not sure. But he had the courage to get out there with his literally lamed leg, holding onto a grocery cart. And he would push himself up that street and back that street like 3 or 4 times with a grocery cart. And at the time we were like, if that guy can do it, so can we. And we got out there and we were walking laps on the track because we couldn't believe it. Over time, he let the grocery cart go and he just had a cane. And then pretty soon, he didn't even have a cane and he just had a limp. He was like such an inspiration. So my mother said she remembered him. And she was like, my why is that if somebody like that, where life is so difficult for them, dares to have the courage to get out there and change their life, I'm going to. That is a fabulous why. That is not fear-based like the cancer. That is inspiration-based, and I love that. So for me, yes, I would love to serve people, and I believe I will because God has always called me to that. And I've been serving people all my life with a smile. But where is my part for me? And for me, creativity. I'm a natural speaker. Not bragging, I've always been called to speak and even got a degree in interpersonal communications. A natural speaker, a natural writer, my gosh. I did my entire master's and part of my doctorate without missing a single point. I literally had 100% in every class. So God's kind of like, Jules, what are you going to do, hun, to get your excitement back? Yes, continue to teach, but on the side, what are you doing? Starting this channel, which again, if you don't know Tanny Raw, please check her out. She's a phenom and has over 2,500, but she could probably have 25,000 with all the different social media outlets that she uses. But 2,500 videos from start to finish on everything you'd want to know about health, nutrition, finances, just being an incredible human, serving others most certainly. She has all of that. So that's how I was first inspired. But honestly, when she dared to say everybody has a story and we should get ours out there because I did her raw reset, I said yes. And here I am. And even though I've only had a trickling of people, I'm here. I'm being accountable and I'm thrilled and it's letting me be creative and that is my outlet. Okay, so that was a ton and a lot of talking, but what's your story? Does your why count? Is it why enough for you? Are you going to reassess it? And what is the foundation of it? And would you be honest enough to share, was yours fear-based? Is it still fear-based or was it fear-based originally and you've since changed? Again, I'll say for me, fear just hasn't carried me. I'd say at least 4 times I've lost weight based on fear and gained every bit of it back. I need the tools to live in the present and to know that I'm provided for and thrive instead of being fear-based because it just doesn't serve me. That said, what does serve me is being here with you, staying vegan, and telling you to be blessed.